ladies and gentlemen, the Breaking Keyfabe. I am your host, Larry, and this is the one and only Brittany Diamond. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I had a fun time doing research into your history in the wrestling business, and when I first had a chat with you, I was telling some people, I was like, bro, this lady has paid her due. She was a wrestler, manager, booker, promoter, photographer, ring girl, ticket seller, and a one-time referee. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
How long, out of all like the jobs you had, just in general, if you could calculate them all, how long have you been in the wrestling business? How much years?
Let's see. If you start when I started selling tickets, say 14, 15, say 15, uh, 35 years.
Wonderful, wonderful. What got you into the sport of professional wrestling? How'd you get into it?
Um, hey, oddly enough, I always grew up watching wrestling. Everybody in my family watched wrestling on TV. Everybody. My dad, my aunts, my uncles, my grandpa, my grandma, everybody watched wrestling. I hated wrestling. It was always, can we please watch something else? And, I grew up in a time you had one TV in the house.
Mm.
There wasn't TVs in your bedroom, it's in the living room. And my dad's famous words, if you don't like it, go to your room and read a book. Well, little kid wants to go read a book, really?
Yeah.
Um, so I never really cared that much for wrestling until one day we were at my aunt's house. And my cousin's like, I'm going to go outside real quick. And if this tag team called the Rock and Roll Express comes on TV, come get me.
Mm.
Saw Ricky Morton on TV and fell in love. But as far as how I got into wrestling, my mom started taking me to the Italian Stallion and George South ran a federation called PWF, Pro Wrestling Federation, and I started going to their shows. And then he started running my high school, so I would sell tickets and stuff at their shows. And then when I was 17, I started dating one of the wrestlers. So I became the ring girl for. I would go to the shows, of course, with my boyfriend, and I was the ring girl who would go get their coats and jackets and stuff for them. And I am sorry that my dogs are being whatever they're being over there. Quick!
Where is it all? Dogs will be dogs.
Yeah.
So, was Ricky Morton your only idol, like growing up, or was there other ones that caught your eye, or ones that you maybe work with today that are your idols?
No, Ricky was okay. Funny story. The first wrestling show I ever went to, I met Jimmy Valiant, and I was terrified that night. They were fighting out in the crowd, and him and Paul Jones done a dog collar match.
Mm.
But um, I was terrified, scared crapless out of that. But um, I guess my favorite wrestlers when I first started watching, of course, I grew up in the South, so NWA was a big thing. And it was Ricky Morton, the Rock and Roll Express, Sam Houston, Magnum TA. Those were my top guys.
And then after seeing them, like how you said you were a ring girl and a ticket seller, did you have to work harder to actually do like wrestling, refereeing, and all that stuff? Did you have to work harder to get into that spot?
Yeah, because I started out like in the independents, and my friend Carla was a wrestler, and she worked for the Italian Stallion, and Stal had told her, so she's 16. When I turned 16, he's like, let's start training her to wrestle. She can travel and wrestle you. So we went to ASU College, and if you know that little thing where you pole vault and you land on that big inflatable air mattress looking thing,
Uh huh.
well, that's where I trained to wrestle, was on that big fluffy air mattress thing. And there's a big difference in that air mattress thing and a wrestling ring,
Would imagine
because the
so.
wrestling ring's not nearly as soft.
Yeah. When you had your you want to tell us about your first like actual matchup that you had in the business, being one of your jobs that you've had?
I think most of my first matches were with All Pro Wrestling out of Elizabeth, Tennessee. One of my first matches was probably they had a mud wrestling match between me and a girl who wrestled as Lady Outlaw. And I thought when they said we were going to do mud wrestling, they were going to give us the whole ring. No, they put us in like a little box with a tarp in it and some mud. And Bill Apner from Pro Wrestling Illustrated was there and took photos of it.
Wait,
But that was probably one of the most disgusting things ever.
you said Pro Wrestling Illustrated, as in like Dave Meltzer was there?
Bill Apner, not Bill Apner. What was his name? I want to say his name was Bill something.
Okay.
He was a heavy set guy. He always took photos for Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Oh, okay. I know Paul Heyman was with one of those guys. If it was maybe him, maybe.
No, it wasn't Heyman.
Okay.
Bill Needham. Bill Needham was the photographer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I do know I have been around Bill Apner though.
Okay. And seeing what they do, was that what made you want to become a photographer?
No, I started taking pictures of my kids, and I would take pictures because we lived in Florida for a while, and I would take pictures of like on the beach at sunset and stuff. And then I got a professional camera, and I started taking pictures ringside. I would just take pictures of the matches and post them for all the guys, and be like, okay, here's your pictures. And I would take their promo pictures that we'd use for posters and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed on your Facebook you were posting out when I did talk to you about wanting to do this interview. You were posting out pictures of different wrestlers that you worked with. At first, I thought those were people that you maybe managed, but now that you're telling me this, I would imagine these are just people you were photoing.
Yeah. The last ones I posted, I didn't take. My friend Rick took all those last promo pictures I took. My camera is currently broken.
Oh,
So I had to get Rick to take some promo pictures for us because we have a guy that does our posters and he needed updated photos. So I had to get updated photos of everybody. Plus, we have a sunflower festival coming up, and I have to get pictures printed for the guys to be able to sell their merch and stuff at the sunflower festival to make them some money.
understandable. And do you have a certain style of photography you like to do? Is there like a style that you have that differentiates, or you just get any shots that any others would?
I probably get any shots that everybody else would do. I like to get them coming out the curtain a lot. And I like to do my own photo edits to the best. Like, I haven't done a lot of edits in a while, but I used to take like pictures I would take of people and put like a different backdrop on it. Like in Florida, there was a guy that wrestled as the New Rican, and I would put like the Puerto Rican flag behind him and stuff, and I would just like crop him out of it and stick him on the Puerto Rican flag. So I used to do a lot of photo edits that way. I done several edits for Sam Houston that he posted out for 8x10s and sold. So I done a lot of edits for Sam. It's kind of odd because I said Sam was one of the guys I grew up,
Yeah.
Being crazy over. And it's like in 2014, I met him for the first time. And then we talked back and forth a while. Then we exchanged phone numbers. And like Sam, he became my best friend. And we're still best friends to this day. Like, I'm doing a convention in Charlotte in July, and Sam's at the convention. Him and his wife will be there. So it's like Sam is still my best friend to this day.
Okay. When it comes to your you want to tell us about your setup for like photography, what you use, maybe your setup?
Uh, Basically what I've used is I have a Canon camera. I'm trying to get me the Canon 17 right now because, like I said, my 16 kind of tore up on me, so I'm trying to get a Canon 17. Usually, if they don't already have a backdrop, I'll use a green screen to take photos so that we can crop out and add backdrops and stuff to them, and it's easier for whoever's using a poster to crop them out of a green screen.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I try to use.
Okay.
And like I hope to have a new camera by July because the Greene County Fair, I like to shoot it. We're doing the Greene County Fair, and I always like shooting the fair shows. Last year I shot it on my phone, and then they got out fighting in the crowd. I ended up having a video on my phone because the cameras couldn't go where they went. I had to chase them down and video the rest of it on my phone so we could edit it in. And I was like, thanks for the heads up that this was going on.
Most indeed. Going back to your tickets selling before we get back to your in-ring stuff, how is it selling tickets?
It's okay. I mean, like you said, you sit there, you sell the tickets to the people, take their money, which was, I mean, it's cool because, like, you know, my daughter did that at SMP for a while. She was doing their tickets and stuff. So it you just basically, you're the person that takes the tickets. And I did it in Florida for WXW for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to get back into managing. So Alpha let me manage. He let me manage a girl from Puerto Rico. She came in and she didn't know very much English, and I sure didn't know any Spanish when she first got there. And Pop stuck us together as a team, and then we did an outside show for Matt Morgan. He's a politician over in Longwood, Florida, and we did an outside show for him. And after we came back through the curtain, Pops goes, "Come here." And I walked over and he says, "So when you want to get back in the ring?" And I said, "What did I do that made him think I want to wrestle again?" I said, "Because whatever it is, tell me not to do it again." So basically, what ended up happening was later on, Raven turned on me, and I was teaming with the sister Jamie D. She was in TNA. I don't remember what she wrestled as in TNA, but she was in TNA for a while, and she was really big friends with Hulk Hogan. And that's kind of how I met her.
You said her name was Jamie D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, going back to your in-ring stuff here, who was your trainers?
I trained with Ricky Morton some. I met Ricky, and I trained with him at a place in Fall Branch, Tennessee that was owned by Bo James. So I done some in-ring stuff with Bo James. I done some in-ring stuff with Chris Stillhart. My husband, when I met him and married him, done a lot of stuff with him. Jamie Gibson. Gosh, who all did I work with? Jimmy Valiant. Jimmy done a lot of my managerial training and stuff at his school.
Okay.
But I worked with a lot of different guys showing me different stuff.
Do you prefer to work heel or face, or how do you want to tell us your experience with both if you have?
I mainly, anytime I wrestle, I mainly wrestle as a babyface, usually, because most of the time my matches have been against Rebecca Lynn, and she's the heel. As a manager, I'd much rather be a heel than a babyface. It's much more fun to be a heel manager than a babyface. But training with Ricky Morton, of course, you know, he biggest babyface in the world, and that's kind of how I met my husband, because my husband was training with Robert Gibson, and Robert closed his school. And when he closed his school, he sent all his students to Ricky, because he had a school in Knoxville and we were in Fall Branch. And when his students came up there, that's how I met my husband.
Happy to hear it. And your husband's a wrestler too.
He passed away in 2018, but yeah, he was a wrestler too.
My apologies.
Wrestling, well, thank you. Wrestling is a family business for us. And when I say family business, I mean all my kids wrestle. My daughter's fiance wrestles. I have cousins that wrestle, so it's like all our family. It's a family business, so to speak.
And they're all on the indie circuit, or have some of them been to like the bigger time companies at least? Or
Most of my family are all on the indies right now, and all my kids. My son-in-law is getting his name out there a little more. He done a standby with um he done like an extra work for MLW a couple of weeks back in Chattanooga.
that's cool.
So yeah, it was great. My youngest son has wrestled EC3. He wrestled him for the NWA title when he was the champion. So EC gave him a lot of good compliments. And then he teamed last year with Ricky and Robert in a 6-man tag against Wolfie D, Mustafa Saeed, and Brian Montgomery.
Wow.
So he got to have a big match on that card that night, which was kind of a heartwarming moment to see my son in the ring with Ricky and Robert. So it melted me.
Like a full circle moment.
Yeah, it was. It was a full circle moment.
That's awesome. Now, no matter if you're a manager, wrestler, or whatever other job that you have done, how do you prepare for a show or a match?
Oh gosh, I've just about had to start getting ready a couple of days beforehand because I have to pack a bag, and whether I'm a valet, a manager, a wrestler, I have to pack clothes. And if you're going to be a wrestler or a manager, you take outfits for both because you never know what you're going. If I've went to a show before just because my husband was booked on the show and got, hey, did you bring your stuff? We need somebody to work so and so. I ended up at a show one night working Misty James and wasn't even booked on the show. But Bo James needed somebody to work Misty, and it's like, here I is.
But you're willing to do
Because
that.
I had my stuff.
You're willing to do that. If you just get called up to the plate, you'll do it.
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, I don't do it as often now because Zeus quit. I'm on blood thinners, so I don't do a lot of in-ring wrestling right now. Balleting, I still take bumps. James Anthony bumped me a couple Saturdays ago. I jumped on his back and he run me into the turnbuckles.
Damn.
So, yeah.
How would you describe your in-ring wrestling style?
Old school. I never threw drop kicks. I never done all this fancy stuff you see in WWE now. It was hair spots, clotheslines, hip toss, arm drags, fireman's carry. I literally done like 80s old school wrestling for the most part. I mean, it was what you saw Moolah and all them doing. You never saw them girls doing drop kicks and stuff. Usually it was let me grab you by your hair and throw you across the ring. And that's how I wrestled.
Understood. We will be getting to your matches later because I do have a whole list of matches that I found regarding you and your robbery with the lady you mentioned earlier. So I'm excited to get to that when we do because it seems like you've had some pretty hardcore matches. What I've gathered.
Yeah, we had some hardcore matches.
Some got 3 in there that are pretty brutal, and your matches seem to always end with some chaos.
Yeah. Depending on where it was at, who was there, it probably was a lot of chaos.
Well, most of the matches I have down are literally from LCW.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We wrestled for LCW for, gosh, I want to say 2 years. I want to say from 2012 to 2014, we were with LCW.
Incredible.
And I know she and I main evented at least 2 shows. Because I know we main evented with a street fight and we main evented with a cage match.
Yes, we will be getting to that. I have 8 matches and 2 promos that you did. 2 promos.
Okay.
Yes. You want to describe us your favorite ring gear or favorite gear you've had when you wrestled?
I usually just wore most time it was like shorts and sports bra originally, and then it went down to I started doing like a lot of one pieces after I had kids. Because I know I've got like a red one piece. I had the American flag one piece, and I have my blue one that I had specially done that says diamond on it, or yeah, it says diamond on the front of it. That I had specially made. Josh Cody made it. So he was the one once I made my gear, and then I started getting gear off of a girl in Florida. And it's basically shorts and shirts.
Okay.
That was my latest gear, actually.
And when you're valeting, do you do anything different compared to your in-ring stuff?
Uh, I will wear dresses, high heels, boots. Sometimes it's jeans and a t-shirt. Depends on who I'm out there with. But it's just, and you do a lot of different things as a valet compared to as a wrestler.
Understandable.
It's just because you're not in the ring, you're more on the outside, so you have more interaction. You have more interaction with the fans, um, especially if you're heel, because you're drawing the heat because you're usually the one cheating in the match or whatever. So the fans are really hot and mad at you.
It's understandable. Now you want to tell us how you unwind after a match or a show?
Usually it's get dressed, take down the ring, and head to probably a Waffle House because it's about the only thing that's open by the time you leave a show, depending on what town you're in. If you're lucky, there's an IHOP or something else, maybe 24 hours. Used to be sometimes Denny's. Depending on where you're at, if there's a Denny's, you can hit a Denny's. That's usually an unwind thing, and then drive home unless we stay overnight. Then of course it's go back to the hotel and chill.
Okay. How do you handle the physical demands of wrestling?
Um, well, I'd like to say I'm a gym rat, but I'm not a gym rat. Um, like at one time I used to do like some yoga at home and stuff, work out some. I used to go to the gym when I lived in Florida. Where I live now, there in the town I'm in, there is no gym really, not one that I would go to. Because like I do treadmills and stuff like that, and leg day, and this is more like a what do they call them? Where they flip tires and all that. They're gyms, but they're CrossFit. It's like the CrossFit gyms, and it's like I don't think I'm going to do CrossFit. So I just basically try to stay in some shape. I have a bad knee, so that's another reason I don't do a lot of in ring stuff. I did do a one spot over a year ago and tore my MCL doing it.
Hmm. Oh boy, that must have been
It was fun.
fun.
Oh, I mean, the spot was fun. I didn't know it was coming at first, but it was fun.
Well said. Well said. Um, Speaking of injuries, how do you recover from injuries?
Yeah, I broke my hand in 6 spots one night. Not wrestling either. I was the manager. And the guy grabbed me by my hair, and I thought he was going to kiss me, but what he went to do was throw me across his knee and spank me. He lost his balance, and we both went to the mat and fell, and my arm went up underneath both of us.
Ooh.
So I broke my hand in 6 spots.
Ooh.
And that was in the match before the semi-main event, and I still had to go out in the main event with another tag team, and they were doing a scaffold match.
Oh.
And when that match ended, Jimmy Valiant was the referee, so we're doing this whole, when we went out, we're doing a whole kissy kiss spot thing with Boogie, and I was like, oh Lord. And when the match ended, I went to pick up the poor guy that went through the table. I went to pick the table up that the poor guy had went through, and I looked at the guy that came out to my other tag team. I said, y'all want to pick up the table up? I can't lift it. And my husband kept saying, no, your hand's not broke because I could still make a fist. And I said, it is. I can't put no pressure on it. Well, when I went to change clothes back into my regular street clothes, I had on those fishnet gloves like the Hardys wear. When I took my gloves off, my hand instantaneously swelled.
Mm.
Couldn't even button my jeans. The promoter's girlfriend had to button my pants. And that's when I found I went to the hospital and found I broke my hand in 6 spots.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
And that never stopped you from still doing the wrestling business in any capacity, though.
No, I broke my tailbone. I landed sitting up on a hip toss, broke my tailbone. Now, that was probably one of the worst injuries I've ever had, because if you've never had a broken tailbone, you can't lay, you can't sit, you can't walk. It's just miserable.
Understandable.
And then, of course, I had the knee injury. I didn't even do the knee injury wrestling, is what's crazy. I did it at my shoot job, and they just messed it up.
Okay. Damn. Glad you're still here with us.
Yeah.
Now, your character inside the ring, whether it's a manager or a wrestler or a booker or promoter, which we will get to here soon at some point. Is there a difference between your character in when you're wrestling in any capacity, like I said, booker, promoter, managing, compared to you outside the ring?
Yeah, because as my character in wrestling, I'm pretty much a bitch, because I'm working as a heel in most places right now. So I'm the little witch that's sitting here looking at the little kids in the front row, going, "Anybody ever tell you little kids should be seen and not heard?" Looking at them and doing, "This is what you're doing. This is what I want you to do." And then they're like, "You cheat." I'm like, "How did I cheat? Referee didn't see nothing." So it's kind of like, um, but I'm a very friendly and outgoing person, and I'm a very emotional person. But my character does not betray that, and that's kind of, there's a big difference in me and so me and my character. Do you want to be on camera? Look, 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 camera. There you go.
Hello,
Go
doggy.
away. Oh, stop! This is my daughter's baby.
Okay.
And I don't know why he's insisting on me babying him right now, but he is.
Well, he's trying to be like the British Bulldog's dog. Remember that they brought out, so he wants to be like them.
Matilda.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm friends with Davy Boy's daughter, and she actually has a bulldog still.
Wow, that's incredible. So
Yeah,
you
I can't remember her bulldog's name, but she has one still.
That's awesome. It seems like you've got to meet a lot of legends, like whether they be their kids or just legends in general.
Oh yeah. My best friend in Florida is Off of the Wild Samoan's widow.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's my best friend in Florida. We talk every day, nonstop. Doesn't matter. Every morning I get a good morning text. Monday through Sunday. I get a good morning text. On Sunday I get a get up and go praise God this morning.
That's awesome.
So that my husband worked for Alpha in Florida, and me and his wife just became best friends. And me and my daughter and her daughter Vale would go. We just go out and have a girls' day. Let's go shopping. It was just the four girls. We would leave, and Pops likes to fish. That's what I call Alpha. He likes to fish. So we would go to St. Petersburg and fish off of the old Skyway Sunshine Bridge. They've turned it into a fishing pier.
Yeah.
The one that collapsed into the water, they've turned it into a fishing pier. So Pops would get a bunch of the male wrestlers together, and they would go fishing. And us girls would get in a van and go to the beach. It's like, y'all fish, we're going to go find a beach. We're going to go have a girls' day. So like me and Lynn and Volley and the women's champion at the time was Dynamite Dee Dee, we would go, and my daughter, and just a couple of the female wrestlers, and we just all go to the beach.
Wonderful. Sounds like a fun time.
It was a great time. Till the day we about drowned.
You about drowned?
Yeah, Dee Dee and I, she's like, "Let's go out here and jump through the waves." And I said, "Okay." So we're out here, when the wave would come, we would jump. I look up and I said, "We're not jumping through that." It was huge. It washed all of us back to shore. Dee Dee picks my daughter up by her bathing suit bottom and top and throws her up in the sand and is screaming at me, "Get up, get up, get up." Before I could stand up, another wave came. And then by the time the third wave came in, me and Dee Dee are starting holding each other. It's like, we're going to drown, we're going to die. But luckily, we survived through that. But we were cut from seashells, our knees and legs. She's like, "I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go." She's like, "I don't want to be shark bait." And she's like, "And we're both bleeding." She's like, "Let's leave."
Crazy. So how has the business changed since you started?
Oh my Lord. Um, my son's famous words is you got to evolve with the business. And I guess he kind of got that from Paul Heyman. But um, so much has changed um, over the years. Like, I know everybody talks about kayfabe, especially the um, old timers. You know, you never saw a heel and a face together in a restaurant together. And when I first started, you know, we kept kayfabe. I was in a storyline with a guy that I rode to the shows with him. I didn't ride the shows with my husband. I rode to the shows with this dude because I was in a storyline with him at these shows, and we had to show up together. We had to leave together. And nowadays, people, you know, it's different. Some people still try to keep it alive. Other people don't. Um, Everybody wants to memorize everything. That's one reason I'm just like, I can't do this. I am too old to be trying to memorize a whole match. This ain't happening. Does not work.
Where do you see the business going?
Um, I think the independents are going to be okay. I wish WWE would bring their prices down. They are ridiculously priced right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculously priced. How can it be family entertainment if you can't afford to take your family to the show?
Yeah.
I mean, one ticket's $300. WrestleMania, like one ticket in the floor was like $1,000. Even nosebleed seats were $1,000. I'm like, I went to WrestleMania in Tampa. Of course, it was right after the COVID, so you were still
Mm.
sitting with the cardboard people. But I paid for four people, four in the lower level, under what they're paying for the nosebleed seats at WrestleMania right now. I paid $700 for four people,
Wow.
and we were directly dead right in front of the ring for the Edge Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns match. We were dead right even with the ring. We weren't on the floor, but we were on the next level up.
Wow. The other day I saw somewhere that you bring up the WrestleMania tickets. Apparently, a ticket from like WrestleMania 3 was like $30.
Wow. Now see, it was affordable. It's that way with everything. Amusement parks. It's ungodly when you get to pay $100 and some odd dollars for one day. You know, Disney, last time I went was $109 for one ticket to Disney World, which I mean I get it, it's Disney World, but I don't understand paying $1,000 for a nosebleed seat at WrestleMania when
Same.
everybody looks like an ant and I'm having to watch it on the Titantron because I can't make out what you look like down there.
I get that. Um, how do you stay motivated in what you do?
There's days I get burnt out. There were times there for a while I was just like, I don't want to go to this show. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And then there's times, you know, there's one of the companies I work for, APW, I like going because I like the guys that I work with there. The tag team I work with, I enjoy being in their corner. I enjoy working with them. We have good chemistry. We work well together, and I enjoy being there with them. We're working together at another federation called WASP. Now, I mean, that tag team, we're together there. I was the top baby face at that company. I had been with the same tag team for over 20 years, and I turned on them to go with this other tag team. Now, you want to talk about people's mind being blown? Their minds were blown because nobody ever thought in a million years I'd walk away and leave Brady Hawks and Tommy Fantastic. Was I hated? Yes. So it was just like everybody try to that's one of those times you're like, okay, I gotta watch my back because some girl looked at me and said something one time about watching their back. And I said, well, I'm always going to be here to watch Doug and Thumper's back. She's like, yeah, well, who's watching your back when you're on the floor? And I was like, okay, don't stand in front of her. Noted. Find somewhere else around the ring to stand.
Understood. And your favorite part about performing in front of a crowd?
It's the performing in front of a crowd because people, I've seen people do those matches where it's like studio matches, and there's no crowd there. Because like women used to film matches and there would be no crowd, they just filmed them and sold the videos. To me, that's no fun. If there's not a crowd to interact with, it's no fun to me. And even the guys will tell you that during COVID, that was not fun. That it was just kind of boring to them too. They did it because they didn't check, but it was boring to them too. Because if there's no fan interaction, it's really not entertainment. You're supposed to be entertaining fans, and if you're out there just entertaining a camera, it's really not as fun.
And you
So to
were
me, the fans,
sorry, what? Sorry.
the fans is what makes the show.
But you were there during the COVID era, though.
As far as what WWE,
Well, like you were competing and stuff like during the COVID era, or were you just not into it?
they we had a few matches during the COVID era, and then they shut it all down. So we assemblies of people there and all down. But like even when we did compete in the COVID era, we were in the dressing room, we had wires and everything out, and you'd be in there, take off your mask, you cut a promo, so you didn't look like Doctor Strange or something. They shut us down. Like I said, they put people together during COVID, so wrestling kind of got shut down. It didn't really make a comeback till 2021. It's almost like for the whole year of 2020, everything was shut down.
It's understandable. What have you learned about yourself through wrestling?
Through wrestling, what have I learned about myself? Portray someone different than who I actually am, and I would say that I can take physical punishment, but I learned that in a different way other than wrestling. Because I used to tell them all the time I was a big baby when it came to pack. Learned about myself. I'm having to learn not to trust people as much as I usually do have to, though, because people in the wrestling business will stab you in the back to get ahead quick, depending on who they are. But they will step on you to get over.
Okay.
I've learned that I can also um, thing I've learned is I became my family's biggest. I say they're biggest, but I mean, I'm there to cheer on my kids. I'm there to cheer on my son-in-law. But they have their own families outside of mama. But I've just learned that a lot of drama and kind of push that out, especially if you're working. Keep the drama and the politics out of your life.
Well said. Now I was able to hear all that, but your camera looks like it's very like it's coming in and out. Just saying. Wanted to let you know. Um,
Oh,
huh?
okay. I don't
Yeah,
know
no.
what. Who knows?
I was just letting you know.
It might have been the Wi-Fi. Okay.
Um, how has wrestling helped you grow as an individual or a participant in the business?
Hmm. Um, I don't really know. I mean, I learned. I guess I learned more about athleticism when I got into wrestling. Um, tennis. Uh, it taught me that you can make lifelong friends in this business. You really can, but you kind of have to be, like I said, careful of it. But to grow, it got me out of, I guess, being shy. I don't think I was ever really what I would call shy, but when you have to stand in front of people and talk, it's like public speaking in high school. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, I don't want to give this speech." Well, the thing about wrestling is you get to give a speech in public that you want to give, not one that you're being forced to give or on a subject that you don't want to talk about. So you kind of get the public speaking down more.
Okay, for sure. Now, those are my questions for the wrestling, particularly at the moment. But we are going to move it to your managerial stuff. You told us who you were trained by for managing, but how did you get into managing? Did somebody say, "Hey, you have a face for a valet. Hey, I don't want you to do wrestling. I want you to be this valet." How did that come about?
Um, I was at a Smoky Mountain wrestling show that Jim Cornette ran, Smoky Mountain in Johnson City, and I was talking to a wrestler. At the time, I didn't know he was a wrestler. I just thought he was a dude. And this girl walks up to me and goes, "Hey, he wrestles for my dad. You should come check out our show." And she gives me her phone number. So I call her and I start going to their shows, only to find out that I am related to her and her father by marriage. His dad had married my cousin. So my cousin was his stepmom. And we found out we were related. He was running a wrestling show, and I showed up to be a valet for him and his tag team partner. So I ended up being a valet for him and his tag team partner. And that's how my name came to be, because I was originally going by Raven when I was doing the stuff with Tay and Stallion. And then I was managing Mike and Sam Spade, and I was trying to think Spade. So I ended up Brittany Diamond Spade. But I did turn on the Spade brothers in Virginia one night, and I ended up with the Ghost Rider and Chains, and my name changed to Destiny for a while.
I never knew that. I thought your name was always Brittany Diamond. So now this is news.
Yeah, I was Destiny for a little while, and then when I got with my husband, he wrestled as the Brooklyn Bad Boy, so I went by the Brooklyn Bad Girl, and we were kind of, I guess, like a spin-off of the Dirty White Boy and the Dirty White Girl, so that's kind of where that came from. He got his because he was from New York, and he used Andrew Dice Clay's Brooklyn Bad Boy for his ring music.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Andrew Dice
Yeah,
Clay.
yeah. And if you've ever tried to find an edited version, clean version of Andrew Dice Clay, it is not easy.
Did not even know anything of his was clean. I really did not.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, now when you manage, depending on the person that you're with, are you usually there to cut the promo for them, or is it a joint effort? Because you told us about that one lady you were managing in WXW, and I believe you're referring to Raven Marie, Ravine Marie.
Yeah. Raven Marie.
Okay, Raven
Yeah.
Marie.
I cut my part in English. She cut her part in Spanish. This is the girl that when she first got there, the English was not her first language at all. She speaks English very well now, but back then not so much. Um, but most time, like if I cut a promo with like say Doug and Thumper, it's a joint effort. I usually don't do the talking for my team. I think the only one promo I've got recently where I was by myself was where I was explaining my actions of why I turned on the Southern Express. I think that was the last promo I cut pretty much by myself.
Okay. Do you want to run through the talents that you've managed from when you started to where you are now, to who you're managing now?
Okay. See, I managed the Spade brothers, Mike and Sam Spade, the Ghost Rider and Chains. Uh, Chance Gibson and Jamie Gibson. They went by Generation PS. Managed O Dog and Mr. Cool. They were in APW as well. What all have I managed? Managed Nature Boy Buddy Landell. Valeted for Kid Cash and Chris Stillhart. We had a New York Express, which was my husband, Chance Gibson, Christian Kane, and Rick Karloff. And I had a co-manager with that, Victoria Steele. Managed Shane Rose. That was my Matt Hardy Lita era. That was my boy toy, Shane Rose. Let's see. I managed Austin and Michael Duggar. I turned on them to go with Doug and Thumper, who I'm with now. Brady Hawks and Tommy Fantastic. I went to the ring one time with Michael Starr so far. Who else? Other than trying to make sure I've got everybody named off.
And you would manage that Raven lady that you were talking about?
Yeah, I managed Raven down in Florida. I think she's the only person I actually managed in Florida. I did do a couple of things where I valeted for Derby Doll in Florida. She is now a referee. She goes by Lane Simon, and she's married to Martin Stone, who was in NXT at one time.
Do you mind
But
repeating that?
I did.
Do you mind repeating what you said there? You cut out.
I managed Derby Doll for a little bit, and she is now a referee. She's by Lane Simon, and she's married to Martin Steele, who was in NXT for a while. For Snow for a while. For Diamond, and she's married to Stone, who's in.
You're cutting out again. I'm sorry. It cut out again.
I don't know why it's cutting in and out like that.
I just wanted to let you know, like, I just don't like, because I want this interview to be good for your stuff too. So I want to make sure that's perfect for you. So that's why I'm telling you when it does cut out.
Yeah. But I did something. I did a thing with Elaine Simon. Trying to think. I think that's pretty much most of the people I have managed.
Okay. Cool. So
I did do stuff with Raw. And I also manage a guy at right now, Jordan Lawrence. I've been doing some Jordans with Jordan Lawrence. I think. Yeah, that's and I had Platinum One, a tag team I managed briefly. They were two young guys that were around for a little while, and then I think they just decided to take a break. Oh, and Extreme Outlaws, DP Holiday and Mikey McMasters. I forgot about them. DP will kill me if I don't mention him.
okay. Heck of a scene. So what I got there from my gathering numbers, you've at least managed 30 something people.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
A lot of tag teams, what it seems like.
Yeah. A lot of tag teams, other than Nature Boy Buddy Landell, and he was just part of my crew.
And you managed the one faction where your husband was a part of the 3-person group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Buddy was part of that group too, but he was only here like once in a while because Buddy was traveling at the time. So when Buddy would come in, he would be part of my Diamond Mine. And Doc Johnson, he was part of my Diamond Mine. I brought him in at one time too.
Diamond Mine was the name of that group. The Diamond Mine.
Yeah, the Diamond Mine. Yeah.
Interesting.
I had it before whoever's using it in. I don't know if it's TNA or AEW, but somebody was doing the Diamond Mine thing. I was like, hey, I had that a long time ago. I don't know why you're using my stuff, but yeah.
Oh, you're referring to NXT's group that was led by Malcolm Bivens. He was doing that Diamond Mine group for a while. I was a big fan of that group.
Yeah,
I had no
yeah,
idea that you started that though.
yeah. I've been doing that since like the early '90s,
Mm.
and or late '90s because I got late '90s. But I used to go to NXT when I lived in Florida a lot because I was friends with Noah Kinkoa, who when he was in NXT was Kona Reeves. So I used to go a lot to NXT because of him.
It's awesome. Um, Now, as a, I am gonna go to your Booker stuff next. How did you become a Booker?
Um, when my husband was promoting a show, I would book talent. My son is currently trying to open his dad's company back up and run shows under his dad's banner now. So I'm booking some of the guys because I have the contacts of a lot of guys. I'm going to end up calling them up and like, hey, are you free this date? Date?
Brittany,
Okay.
you're
Well,
cutting in
so
it.
and it's been like,
Brittany,
can you please?
you're cutting in and out again.
Yeah.
You may need to restart that. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you, it's cutting in and out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a different spot in the house. Maybe you could try moving to, but I did not hear any of that.
Let's see if the what's going on with it. Um, but no, you crazy psychotic dog. If you please stop. I don't know if going outside would be any better or not. If we get better signal outside or not.
Well, I guess we'll see. Do you mind restarting what you were saying about the booking from the beginning?
Um, yeah, I worked for a company in Johnson City, and the guy was a wrestler. He didn't really know how to get in touch with a lot of talent, so I ended up booking a lot of his wrestlers for him. I would be the one to call them up and book the wrestlers and make the matches, and then I brought in a friend of mine, and he was like helping me make matches. Um, my son right now is wanting to start his dad's company back up. So I'm the person who's pretty much booking a lot of the guys. I'll call up the guys from Florida and stuff, but he's got his mindset on what talent he wants now. But the first show he ran, I ended up doing a lot of the phone calls and stuff.
Okay. And you were managing for your husband. You were doing stuff for your husband that you said also.
Mhm. Yeah. I used to book some of the guys there. I was a co-promoter. There was five of well, it started out as like six of us running a company, and then several would back. But we were doing TV, so several people would back out, and we ran Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and of course, as I say, if we had to get the TV, we'd have to go edit TV and all that. So that was part of like being the promoter part of it, hanging the posters, um, making the commercials for TV. And until you've tried to shoot a commercial with Nature Boy Buddy Landell, huh, let me tell you, that right there is a job in itself.
Wow.
Trying to get him to say his lines.
But all worth it in the end.
Yeah, yeah. He cut a commercial one night, and he's sitting on the edge of the ring, and I'm standing beside him with my arm propped on his knee. He says this line all the time. I said, buddy, you can't say that on TV. So it's like we got to refilm this whole commercial because you can't say that on TV.
And you say you guys were on TV. How was it for like getting streaming service? Like, is it still like stuff that people can go on TV today and find?
It was basically it was shown in Boone on their channel, like where they advertise. It's like an advertisement thing, and they would air our wrestling program. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
A couple of our TV tapings are on YouTube. It's under Marty Kurtz. He put them up on his YouTube, so there's several of our TV tapings there. I'm a blonde in most of those, but then again, I was managing Buddy Landell, so had to be a blonde.
Then you went for like the lead look, like you said, the red.
Yeah, the red.
Now, when it comes to booking, how would you describe your style?
I go to shows and look at guys and their in ring work. Um, if it catches my eye, then I'm like, okay, let's book this guy. We'll and like there's people in Florida that I used to work with that like I know when we do our show in September that got one guy, he told me, I'll cancel whatever booking I've got to make your show. But then like I've got to book his hotel and his airfare. And I already know who he's working. He's going to work my youngest son. The guy wrestles is Ernest R. Alexander III, ERA, your girlfriend's favorite wrestler, and he'll work heel against my youngest son on our show, and it's a anniversary show, which will be a tribute show to their dad. They dedicate it to their dad, so that's the part of the job I hate is like trying to book everybody's hotel and airfare and rental cars if we have to.
What's the most important thing when it comes to booking?
Making sure your talent is paid up front, especially your out of town talent. Making sure that their hotel is paid for before they get here, making sure that their airfare is sent months in advance because it's cheaper. Don't wait 3 weeks out to book an airplane ticket. You'll pay 300 times more the price than what you would have if you'd booked it 3 months in advance.
Now, when you say all this, you said earlier, going back a little bit, you said you had to deal with some shady promoters, right? So were you treated not right when you were in the business at first with certain promoters?
I've had guys like stiff you won't pay, show up and they don't want to pay you. Let's see. Or they don't want to give you your gas money. The famous line you hear constantly is, well, the gate was a little short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the gate was a little short. Well, I'm here. And a lot of times, women in the business honestly can get paid more than the guys. I hate to say it, but there's a call for women wrestlers, so I think they get paid probably what they ask.
Oh,
If they get stiff, they probably don't go back. Because at one time, women wrestlers were hard to come by.
mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of women wrestlers out there. And nowadays, you have a problem with people putting people in the ring who've maybe been in a ring 10, 15 minutes and, we're going to let you wrestle. No, that's not how that works. This is how you get people hurt.
Understood. How do you handle setbacks in booking? Like, whether it be any kind of setback, people not showing up. Like, what do you do? Like, what setbacks? How do you handle them?
The last show that I booked, sorry, I did have somebody not show. I had my color commentator, my play-by-play guy cancel on me. And but it's something that, okay, you can't come. I'm going to use another ring announcer. So I called up ring announcer for SMP, Scotty B, and I was like, I need you. I don't have to have you ring announce. Originally he was only supposed to do a couple things, and he ended up doing my ring announcer, and it was kind of like, okay, here you are. And he brought lights and stuff for the show, so he ended up being more than what he was supposed to be doing. I had a wrestler no show for the ring, and and some guy showed up that had his gear, and I was like, okay, you're in the battle royal, hit it. It's kind of when sometimes people can't help it. They can't make it, car trouble or something comes up, and they just can't make it.
Understood. Now, as a booker, do you make the storylines? But like you said, you sometimes put people in a battle royal. Does every show you do have a story to said thing, or is it just sometimes on the fly?
Sometimes it's on the fly.
Okay.
My son is huge. My son is trying to run a federation right now, getting ready to run a federation. He is huge on storylines. Huge, huge, huge. So he's all about writing storylines. I don't really write the storylines as much as they do. He writes the storylines and be like, okay, this is what I want, and this is kind of who I'd like to have. And if he calls out who he wants, then that's kind of what we try to do.
Okay. Well said. How do you promote?
Facebook, Instagram, and we still old fashioned. We're still hanging posters and going from business to business to business, hanging up posters. So we're still old school there.
You like when you're out on like a walk or something, you're just gonna casually put up a poster somewhere.
Oh yeah, I have 2 jobs that I do, and I hang posters in both my jobs. Most people in my hometown know what I do, and they'll come in, hey, when's the next wrestling show? Or I get the one person who starts working with me that finds out about wrestling, goes, oh, I love wrestling, and then they never shut up. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Understood.
He come in Tuesday and goes, so how are you feeling? And I was like, I feel fine. Why? And he goes, oh, Monday Night Raw. I was like, bro, I was driving Monday night. I said, I was coming home from Knoxville Monday night. I said, I did not see Monday Night Raw. I was driving.
Understood. Now, as a promoter, what puts fans in seats?
Good talent, good matches, and not having to see the same match 500 times. Somebody not out there cutting a promo that they stand there in the ring and they talk for 15 minutes. I mean, I know WWE does it. There have been times that we have counted how many matches we've seen compared to how much talking they did. At WrestleMania, we counted how many minutes of wrestling there was compared to commercials. Because the first night of WrestleMania, there's more commercials than there was wrestling.
Wow.
We sat here and counted that. Of course, there's a bunch of wrestlers doing it.
Understood. Now, as a promoter, what's the biggest loss you have taken as a promoter? Like, whether it be a venue, whether it be losing a wrestler, what would you have to say?
Money wise,
Well, just like anything, like you could take a loss any kind of way. Like I said, was it losing a wrestler? Was it losing a venue? But if it is money wise that you could think of, that's up to you to tell me. But like I was just saying, like, what's a big loss you have taken as a promoter?
money wise, we had a moment where we had a show booked,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy whose ring we were using decided he was not going to bring his ring. So we were going to borrow a ring off of somebody else, and the ring was a no show. And we had kid cash on that show, so it was like having to, you still have to pay your name. He showed up, whether he got to wrestle or not. He showed up. You've still got to pay him, man. So we had to pay him. Had to give the fans their money back. And we'd already bought concessions and stuff to sell, and that was food. That was money we just had to eat because we had no ring, so we had no show.
Wow.
And that was just money we lost. Personal losses. Of course, I lost my husband, who was a wrestler. Lost Alpha and Sika, which that was a heartbreaking loss. And then I guess a person, like a wrestling loss that, like, we all working for SMP, which was formerly School of Morton, and it's called Smoky Mountain Pro now. And we were at a TV tape, and I got to noticing that our interview guy, Bob, was acting weird. I was having to go get the microphone to take it to the ring for Scotty B and then take it back to the announce desk. And at our intermission between our 2 TV tapings, he told somebody he wasn't feeling well. And he was saying something, and the promoter's wife's like, you're having a heart attack. And they took him to the hospital. We literally closed our second half of our TV tapings, sent the fans home so we could pack up and get out. My car broke down coming home, and Scotty B had to come get me and take me to his house. Well, while he's texting back and forth in the group chat, and I'm in the bedroom with my daughter and stuff, and then I hear him say, "We've lost Bob." Well, my youngest son was really close to Bob, so then I hear my son just start melting in tears. So I have to jump up, run in the living room. I'm like, I didn't know what to do besides hold him. But that was hard to lose somebody that you literally were just at a TV taping with and was talking to 1 minute, and the next thing you know, he's in the hospital and he's dead. That was hard. That was hard on all of us, that whole group.
Wow. And you guys lost a lot of people. Like you already just went down the list there. I would imagine you guys try to carry on in their name in some way. And I mean, at least they must be looking down on y'all, happy of what you guys are doing and not stopping what you're doing.
Yeah, my son, my middle son was trained by Off of the Wild Samoan. He does wrestle underneath his dad's name of Chance Gibson Jr. But that was hard when Appa died, and Lynn, his wife, had called me on Monday and told me, Pops is not doing well. She's like, you need, because I had knew Pops was not doing well for a while, but she said, don't say nothing until it's time to say something. So on Monday, she called me and said, you need to let the kids know that Pops is getting worse. So I told the kids, and then on Friday, she called me, and I was picking my daughter up from school, and she had just called me. And she got in the car, my daughter did, she's like, are we leaving? And I said, yeah, I'm waiting on your brother, because her other brother had went in the grocery store. And I just turned around and looked at her, and the only thing I knew to say to her was, he's gone. And she just broke into tears. And then when I got home, my two boys were on the porch, and they were just bawling. And it was just a family of stand here on the porch and cry. That's all we could do, stand here on the porch and cry. And then prepare to drive to Florida.
Well, my deepest condolences for y'all's loss, and like I said, they're going to continue watching y'all from where they are now, and probably proud of what you guys are doing to carry on their legacy.
Oh yeah, because Chance is a firm believer, and he will tell people, if they do something stupid, he'll be like, if Fafa was here right now, and it's like, yeah, Fafa's here right now. And it's my youngest son got into wrestling because of his dad, because he never really showed much of an interest in it until after. And then of course my daughter, she's trained some to wrestle. She trained with Ricky Morton some, and her fiance wrestles, so she's planning on getting back into it.
That's awesome. It's really cool. And I wish the best of luck for you guys.
I appreciate it.
Now I am going to go down a list of companies that I have written down here, and you tell me how you feel about them and like your experience there and when you started. Was this a show name or was this a pay-per-view name? Titan the Turnbuckle.
Titan Turnbuckle is a part of a federation with Rated R, I guess. Titan the Turnbuckle is ran by Gabe Brock. I've done a few shows with him. I've had good experiences with Titan the Turnbuckle. Can't really complain about it. It's been okay.
With it being a part of, you want to talk about Rated R Wrestling since you said that's a part of it?
Rated R right now is getting some strong heat, so we might want to lay off of that one.
Okay, I respect that.
Yeah.
Net Pro Studios?
I don't work for Net Pro Studios, but it is ran by Dan Jones. And I mean, I never had a problem with Dan in the past. I work with a lot of his guys come and work shows that we run. He trained a tag team called the Big Guns. They work for me and my son. They work for my cousin. So I mean, Dan, he's doing a lot of the training here in East Tennessee right now. He has Crazy Steve and Ricky Morton at his school, but I mean, I guess he calls part of the heat with Rated R right now. So Yeah.
Beside the ring, or is that also a show that was associated with that?
Beside the ring is ran by Scotty Campbell.
Okay.
I am. I say it's our company. Scotty put most of the money into it, and he booked most of the talent. But he asked my opinion on stuff, and it was kind of a us thing. Scotty messaged me one night at a show and goes, "Hey, if I buy a ring, will you help me run shows?" And we ran a few wrestling shows. We ran a couple of fair shows that were really nice, and we ran a couple of school shows. But yeah, Scotty had a good product. He started sharing some of his stuff online, and it's like, "Are you going to run another show?" And he'll say, "I don't know." But, Scotty and I are doing a convention in July in Charlotte together. We go down there and hang out for 4 days with all the talent.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, he's friends with Donna Canucci, who is dating, I probably pronounced her last name wrong, but she is dating Rocky Cronodle. And they are putting Dawn in their Hall of Fame this year. So Rocky's going to be accepting Dawn's Hall of Fame thing. So we'll probably be there for that.
Awesome. Awesome. You've also worked for, I'm not sure the wrestling name fully, but I know it's called EWC.
EWC. Which one was that?
Like
Have
I
I
said,
actually been there?
I found some photo. Like I said, I found photos in my research, and it said EWC. So I don't know if that was
That may have been me just taking photos of the show.
okay.
That may not have been one I worked for. Blade and Devon may have been working on that show. I don't know.
Okay. Oh,
I would have to
a
think
guy in
about it.
overalls was there. That's the best I could say.
That might have been Ricky Dooley. I don't know.
For sure. Wasp Wrestling.
Yeah, that is run by Brady Hawks. Brady was trained by my husband. Brady Hawks runs Wasp. I have worked with Wasp since they opened their doors, pretty much. I've been with Wasp since they opened. Back in 2017, I came to Tennessee from Florida to do a show, and Sam Houston came with, and I got to manage Sam that night. So that was pretty cool.
Heck yeah. Smoky Mountain Pro that you talked about a bit.
Yeah, I do photography for Smoky Mountain Pro. I've not really ever wrestled or valeted at their shows, but I took most of their photos for the past couple of years. My son Blade is their heavyweight champion right now. We're doing, like I said, they're doing a fair show July the 22nd in Greenville. We got one at the end of August on a Saturday in Cott County. It's Cott County Fair. And then in October, we do a bike show in, I think it's Hendersonville, North Carolina. There's like a lot of motorcycles and stuff there. I just don't look forward to being outside in October. It's too cold.
Good.
In my opinion, too cold.
And we've talked about quite a bit with your experience there, but WXW that you very are fond of.
Oh yeah, WXW is home. Sadly, it's no longer running in Florida. Alpha Junior is back up in Pennsylvania, running it in Pennsylvania. But I done everything at WXW, from playing security to being in people's promos, selling tickets, ring girl, ballet, wrestled some. One of my highlights was I got to work with Mercedes Martinez. That was absolutely 100% amazing that I got to work with Mercedes Martinez. That was awesome. I just love absolutely the fact that I got to work with Mercedes. Good girl, love her to death.
Triton Championship Wrestling, TCW.
That was my husband's company. That is the company that my son Chance Gibson Jr. is opening back up. He is opening that back up with all my kids are involved in that. All the kids, because it was their dad's company. So all my kids are involved. They're on the board of directors with it, and we actually do have a board of directors for it. We have DP Holiday and Brandon Anderson who are on our board of directors also. Jamie Gibson was, I think. And then like all my kids, but like I said, that they're opening this company back up. They're in the process of getting everything together so that they can book their talent, the referees. We've got our ring announcer, um, got most of our referees, got most of our wrestlers because like a lot of it's our family. A lot of the guys that'll be wrestling will be our family, and then of course we got our guys we're bringing up from Florida and just different guys that we work with.
Understood. All pro wrestling that you've brought up quite a bit.
I still work for All Pro Wrestling. I started with All Pro Wrestling in 1994, and I still work there. Um, I work there. Like I said, my cousin runs the show, so I am still there.
Awesome. LCW, Liberty Championship Wrestling.
That was ran by Alan King and his brother Danny, and they done a really great job with those shows. It was amazing. We had great talent, great show. Absolutely loved my time with LCW. Would not have traded it for anything in the world. Rebecca Lynn and I got to be main event there. We got to show what we could do, and I absolutely love it. It was great. I have nothing bad to say about it. Alan right now is doing his farewell tour right now, as a matter of fact.
Wow. Okay.
And I hate to see Alan go, but he's finally getting to go out on his terms and not and the way he wants to. So I'm happy that Alan's at least getting to do that.
Now, the last company I have listed on here, I don't know if this is the last one, like out of all the names I've said, but if I did miss any, let me know. Rocky Steady Wrestling, where you were the GM.
Yes, Rock Steady Wrestling. I was the GM, and they were located in Florida. And the people who ran that were Mark Mandrake and his wife Ferrari. They are planning to move back to Florida this summer. And when they do, they plan to open them back up at least by next year, which I know that my family and I will be going back to Florida as part of that show, as part of Rock Steady Wrestling show. So I know that we all have a place to work down there now.
Did I miss a show that you've been a part of that I did not say?
Let's see. I worked for a company in Knoxville. Cannot remember what it was called back then, but it was at the Green Acres Flea Market, and I wrestled a girl down there. She went by Cody Cash. She has since passed away, but her son wrestles as Brutus, is now running shows, and my son is working for Brutus. So I enjoy. I worked for them some. See, who else have I worked for? You've pretty much named, I think, most of the places I work, mainly anyway.
Okay. Cool, cool. Now, before we do get into your matches and your time as GM and Rocksteady, I do have 5 questions left specifically before we get to those.
Okay.
You refereed once. Why was that one match that you refereed?
Um, it was Jamie Gibson versus Alan King, and they had me as a special guest referee to keep Rebecca Lynn in line, who was managing Alan King.
Mm.
I was a special guest referee, and I guess it was, I would say, more or less just to get underneath the Rebecca Lynn skin, honestly.
But you were keeping her
It
in
worked.
check.
Oh, yeah, and it worked. Jamie came out on top. He was the winner.
Would you do it again, referee?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would referee again. I had no problem with it.
Cool, cool. Now, to get into your stuff, we're going to start with Rocksteady. So you debuted on RSW3 where you cut a promo, and then after that, you cut a promo where it was titled Brittany Shines. You want to tell us the gist of these promos that you made?
My first one that I came to Rocksteady when I debuted, I was managing a guy by the name of Bison. Bison is completely deaf. What most people probably don't know is Bison is completely deaf. He wrestled that night against Samuel C., who is partially deaf.
Oh.
So it was competitors who were both hearing impaired wrestling. I kept cutting promos about my new client, and nobody could figure out who my new client was until I came out at Rocksteady and announced myself as everybody there's. Everybody was my client because I was the boss. I was the GM.
Okay. And
So it went from no longer managing to being the GM.
Logan Cruz was looking for you in a promo. You remember that?
Yeah, Logan was hit by a car.
Oh.
And he wanted to have a match with the guy that hit him. Something Andrews. What's his name? Christian Andrews. And he wanted to have a match with Christian, and he wasn't cleared by the doctors. And I think he found my assistant. When he was looking for me, he found my assistant and harassed the daylights out of him. And then we had the moment where he went on a podcast and proclaimed his undying love for me. I was like, oh no. I was like, Logan, honey, that ain't happening. Then I later got asked to dinner by Bud Heavy. He came to the ring with the cards and flowers and asked me to dinner.
And this was story. This was real.
Yeah, it was a story, but it was insane.
Okay.
It was insane the things that the promoter got me into. I had a fight I got in a fight with another guy that they were bringing in to be a co-general manager, and he went to snatch the microphone out of my hand one night and smacked me, and I was like, all right, this is gonna make a heck of a storyline. Because then that's when you see me cut the promo about how I should have slapped his teeth down his throat.
You were also did a promo where you talked about Day of the Dead.
Yes, that was a show we done, and it was very weird. But we done it was one of our shows, the Day of the Dead.
What was weird
So I was
about
like, because if you've the little face paint things, if you see them from the Day of the Dead, we had like everybody was the masks and stuff there for the Day of the Dead. It was like our Halloween show.
Okay.
So that was a little odd. And then our Christmas show became a barbed wire Christmas tree match. And it was a Christmas tree wrapped in barbed wire.
Okay, and that's why
And
you
there
were
were
wishing.
presents.
What? Sorry.
There were presents underneath the tree, and you could go unwrap the presents and use whatever was in the present you unwrapped.
Okay, then. Very inventive, though, I would say. And that's where you were wishing everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. And you did a promo where you were talking about a Thanksgiving message, and then after that, you did a promo for RSW6.
Okay. I'm not even sure what that show was anymore. I'd have to think about that one.
For sure.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That might have been the Logan Cruise, or that might have been something to do with Fidel Sierra, the Cuban assassin. It might have had something to do with Fidel.
Also, you had a thing where Don Vincenzo replied to you after. Maybe that's what the promo was about. So he replied to
That was
you
Don.
in this promo.
Yeah.
And
Where he told me never send a woman to do a man's job.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember that. Because that's the one where I told him I was going to slap his teeth down his throat. Yeah.
And
Very much remember.
You made a message for the Diamond Kid?
Yeah, he won a match. Number one contenders match. So I was like, congratulations. Now let's just see if you can come out on top as the champion. And he did. He won the title.
Well said. Oh. And the last promo I have written down for RSW8, you wanted everything between you and Don Vincenzo to work out so you guys could be a co-unit.
Yeah. I was going to try to work things out with Don Vincenzo, but it was like, if it can't work out, then I wanted sole control.
Understood. And was that your last promo that you did, or am I missing anything after that?
That was probably the last ones we did because I think that's about the time COVID hit.
Ah, so COVID was the reason for Rocksteady kind of dialing down on their stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Liberty Championship Wrestling, which we talked practically a lot about, where you had an infamous rivalry with Rebecca Lynn, and what I have listed first, the street fight between you and Rebecca Lynn, where it seemed like I think two individuals or either one individual interfered after almost like the ending of the match.
Jamie Gibson.
Okay.
And I ended up taking a spine buster.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that would have been Jamie Gibson. Because he came out there yelling at the referee, and then I jumped out of the ring and slapped him. Yeah.
And
that referee's name was Pat Selleck, and unfortunately he died of cancer a couple of years ago. And we all miss Pat. We loved Pat.
R.I.P. Pat. R.I.P. Pat. Street fight though. So when it comes to a street fight, you guys got pretty hardcore in that match. There was a ladder out there. There was a few other things involved. You like to get hardcore. Do you want to walk us through this match that you and Rebecca were trying to do for this?
This was she had hit me with a kendo stick in a match, which led to the street fight. We had a baseball bat, a broom, which I broke across her, the kendo stick, a bull rope, a belt, pans, stop signs, and the trash can, and a trash can lid that absolutely rang my bell when she smacked me in the head with it. I saw stars. I said I'd have been hit with that stop sign 100 times over compared to that trash can lid.
And after that, you and Jeff Storm took on Alan King and Rebecca Lynn, where you and Jeff walked away victorious.
Yes. After me trying to go under a referee, around the referee, through the referee, because they were cheating, and this ref, I was just like, okay, I'm about ready to just like DDT you, ref. You gotta get out of my way. I love Jeff. Jeff is a wonderful human. Even though at our last Christmas Chaos show at Wasp, he locked me in a cage.
Oh.
Yeah, he locked me in a cage so that Brady Hawks and Tommy Fantastic could have a fair shot against Simply Delicious. Because I interfered in the last month's match, and I said it was a street fight. It was legal for me to be part of the match. I didn't see what the fans' big deal was. I kept told I was cheating. I was like, it's legal. There's no disqualification. Shut up.
Yes, indeed. And you had the first ever ladies steel cage match, as we touched on a little bit, against Rebecca.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely interesting because neither one of us had ever done that before. So that was definitely interesting.
And you and Rebecca have worked a lot. We're going to go through the rest of your matches, but was there something you guys were wanting to do different than you guys did in your street fight already in the steel cage?
There's things that I wish we had done in the steel cage that we did not like. I wish we had used that cage more than what we did use it for. But we weren't used to it, really. The street fight, I think we did what we intended to do. Other than one spot with a ladder, I think it came at the end later, but yeah, the steel cage, I just wish we'd used the cage more. And the leather strap match that we done, I don't know, that everybody's like, oh, no, it was horrible. We kept getting tangled up in that thing. We were tripping over it. And I was like, this thing is stupid. I hate it. I don't know why we agreed to this. The only part of it was hitting each other with it was I guess the only thing that the fans cared about, but I hated trying to run the ropes and stuff with that thing attached to you. It was horrible.
Since we are talking about the leather strap, we might as well go to it. And then that was the match where you handcuffed her to the ring rope to win, because you technically won by count out, right?
No, I touched all 4 turnbuckles.
Oh yes, that's the old school. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, we did the old school, and she couldn't get back in the ring to stop me. I handcuffed her to the outside of the ring so she couldn't stop me from touching all the turnbuckles.
And you said you already had difficulty with the leather strap in general, so I mean, like, that was, like, the probably one and done, never again.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that ever again.
Okay. Now, after that Lady Steel cage match, it was you versus Rebecca, which ended like I was telling you earlier, how a lot of your matches ended in chaos. You were getting beat up, like, what it seemed like by 2 individuals in yellow, and then 2 people, I think it was Lethal Impact, that came out to help you.
Yeah. It was Alan King and Jamie Gibson holding me and Rebecca beating me up, and then Shane Royal and Billy King came out to my rescue, which was Lethal Impact. And then we later on went on to do a 6-man.
Yes, where it was you and Lethal Impact versus the old school Outcast and Rebecca Lynn, where your team won.
Yes, because I completely dove off the ring onto them, onto the floor.
And before that match, you guys did cut a cool promo.
No, thank you. Yeah.
And you can maybe explain this to me. There's an episode on the LCW thing where the channel was ICWA.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like a name change you guys were trying out, or
No, it was a different show.
okay?
It was ran by Greg Poe, and he ran in a church, and we ran in our little gymnasium in a church. And the one match of me there, I'm wrestling a dude, and I had forgot that match even happened till I saw it. And he's a manager. The guy that I was wrestling was a manager. And I think I ended up in the ring with Marky Mark at some point in time, and he's like, I think Greg Poe comes out to save me from Marky Mark, because Marky Mark kind of has the George the Animal Steel, Miss Elizabeth obsession going on. And I think Greg Poe come out to save me, and then Marky Mark can't even hit the cinder block. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Did you guys ever go back to ICWA, or was that like a one-time show?
They are no longer running.
Okay.
Greg Poe is pastoring a church full time now, and he sold his wrestling ring and stuff. So they're not running shows anymore. But I do go to church with Greg. He's my pastor.
Hey, that's cool. That's awesome. Good job for that.
He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't wrestle anymore, but yeah, I still go to his church.
And you cut a promo after that 6-person tag match at the Range Elm School. You remember that promo?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Think where I said something about Rebecca Lynn. Is that where I said she got something about the girl had to cheat to win? Yeah.
And that's what led you guys into the final match that I have listed, because we already talked about the leather strap match. But you guys had a match before that where it was you versus her, just regular wrestling match where you walked away victorious. And it looks like a lot of times you have had the upper hand against Rebecca.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's basically having to cut out Alan and Jamie and whoever else she might have been managing at the time.
Okay. And you guys are good friends outside of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you guys still work together?
Well, as managers, yes. She manages her husband, Dr. Destruction Joe Briggs. She manages him now. I still see him at shows. Love both of them to death. Do anything in the world for Joe. Do anything in the world for Becca. Yeah, I still see them at shows. We don't usually work on the same show, but I go watch them at shows, and I'm the crazy person who will go sit in the crowd as a fan. I still do it. I go to independent shows, and I will still sit in the crowd as a fan. I will pay for a ticket. I will go buy people's merch. I support my friends.
Awesome. I love that. Always got to show support. And out of all the matches you have been a part of, that you have been wrestling in at least, can you give me your top 5 matches that you, or 10, 5 to 10, that you have been in?
Probably the street fight from LCW was probably my favorite.
Okay.
We did another street fight for Wasp, which I really liked. I did a mixed tag match with Rebecca and Jeff Storm against me and Bruiser Graham. I really liked that. There was a 3-way with Nicole Starr, myself, and Rebecca Lynn. That was one of my favorite matches. Myself, Misty James, and Rebecca Lynn. The cage match was okay. It was fun. It wasn't horrible. And I would say that's probably my favorite matches. Like I said, I can name off my least favorite with that strap match.
Understood.
And it wasn't even the fact of being hit with it; it was the fact of tripping over it.
Understood. Now I know you say you don't really wrestle as much anymore, but if you were to get back in that ring, can you name me 5 to 10 people you would love to step into the ring with? Men, women, whoever.
One of the last people I stepped in the ring with was the Big Guns in a mixed tag match. I did wrestle against the Big Guns, which was kind of intimidating when you're 5'4" and they're like 6'8". I can tell you people that I respect. One of my favorite female wrestlers is Natalya Neidhart.
Mm.
Don't know that I want to get in the ring with her. I don't consider myself on their level at all. But her, Charlotte Flair are probably two of my. I like Charlotte, but like I said, Natalya is probably my favorite female wrestler. If I could get into a match, I would love to have a mixed tag match with Ricky Morton as my tag team partner.
Okay.
I would prefer it to be against Rebecca and Joe, honestly, if I had to. I got to manage Ricky on a one-time show, which I absolutely loved because we came after Rock and Roll is King, and I thought I was going to cry because the 10-year-old Mark in me was like ready to bawl, going back to 1985, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. So it's just like, and my son-in-law makes fun of me for being a Mark. He's like, "You're a Mark." Yeah, I am. I will still go up to wrestlers and ask for their autographs. I will still take pictures with wrestlers. But I consider it, I'm making memories with people that might not ever be here forever. People I'd like to get in the ring with. I don't know. I think Ricky Morton is probably my one that I would like to get in the ring with. I have people I want to manage.
Oh, what's up?
I want to do a match where I at least one time get to manage Brad Attitude. Brad works for AML, which also hosts WrestleCade. He is like one of their top stars there. But I would love to manage Brad Attitude. I had a whole outfit. There's pictures of me and Brad from WrestleCade where I am dressed as Brad Attitude. I have on the stars and everything like him. We both have on the star sunglasses. I would love to manage Brad. I'd probably like to manage Michael Starr again. That was pretty good. I'm trying to think of guys that I want to work with. I don't know. That was some things on my bucket list there.
Very nice. Thank you for that. Well, since you are a booker and promoter, is there places that you maybe like to book and promote for?
Well, right now I'm not doing most of the promoting. My son is, and we're doing like Mountain City. I would love to run a show in Florida, but I don't see us taking a ring to Florida. So like, maybe going down there and working in Florida is great. But most of our, like I said, if we get our shows up and running, it's going to be more of a family thing than me having to do it all by myself, which is great. But like when I was doing stuff in Johnson City, I was contacting guys, and it's pretty bad when you're like, "Hey, tell your girlfriend / wife or whoever that I'm a wrestling booker, that I'm not some crazed fan, or that I'm not your mistress, or I don't want you calling her like, who's this?"
Understood. Okay.
Yeah, it can lead to weird and odd situations.
And you said, I remember when I was showing you who I have interviewed in the past, you say you know Hound Dog. How's that relationship as friends?
We're good friends. I met Hound Dog at WXW. As a matter of fact, he came to the very last show WXW ran. So I got to see him. He came in, he said hi to Pops and stuff. Pops got us tickets to SmackDown one night, and me and my husband and my kids went to SmackDown with Hound Dog and his kids.
That's awesome.
So, oh yeah, and I think Alecki and a couple of the guys were doing extra work that night for WWE, but we got into SmackDown for free, and then we went to another SmackDown show one time, and it was a whole slew of us went.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about some upcoming? You already talked a little bit, but if you would like to repeat it, the upcoming events that you are going to be a part of that you would like to promote, or even ones that you are wanting to promote in general.
Well, this Saturday, I'm going with my son-in-law to EWP, where Devon, I shouldn't let this out the bag, but Devon Belcher is wrestling Xander Storm for the title down there. I'm going to go down there Saturday. Our next WASP show is June the 13th. I know that Rated R has one the 20th. 27th of June is another EWP show, and my son Blade is on that one. He's in a three-way.
Okay.
Who was he in the ring with? Kyle Brooks and Jordan. I cannot pronounce Jordan's last name. He's Samoan. That's what I can tell you. Let's see. Then in July, I don't really know. Off the top of my head, I know Wasp has a show. And I know that I am in Charlotte at the gathering at that convention, so that's where I will be that weekend. And then everybody else is scattered to and fro for July. Everybody's going to different shows.
Understood. And if you're I do want to extend an invitation for this. If whenever your son does start that promotion, if you ever like to come on the pods, I'm always happy to help in any way I can to help get out their stuff more at all, if anything.
I know in September we are booked every Saturday in September. First Saturday of the month, a guy that worked for us at WASP, his name was Thunder Anderson. He passed away a year ago, and my son and a lot of our guys were pallbearers at his funeral. And I'm going to tell you this story because it's touching. When all the pallbearers walked through the tent and laid their boutonnieres on his casket, as soon as the last one walked through that tent, it thundered. We're standing outside. It's 80 degrees outside. The sun is shining and we're all sweating, and it thunders out of nowhere. Not a cloud in the sky. One of the guys from the big guns looks at me and goes, "That's him letting us know he made it." And I was like, I will go with that with you, Charlie, 100%. But they're doing a show for him, a memorial show for him, the 5th, and his widow, Missy, messaged me the other day and asked me if she could use part of my speech that I did at Marty's memorial show this past September. And I said, well, yeah, you can use it. And she's like, I hope I'm as strong as you and that I can get through it. And I was like, girl, I bawled my eyes out. I cried. And she's like, I'm probably just going to fall apart. And I told her straight up, I said, girl, if you want me there holding your hand while you do this, I am there. I will be right beside you. I said, I know you got your kids there, but if you want somebody else that knows what it's like to lose a spouse, I will be there holding your hand. I promise you that. And then the following week, we have WASP. The week after that, APW has their really big show with Arn Anderson, Brock Anderson, a guy from TNA. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But they have a big show, APW, that night. And then the following week, we're running our second annual Memorial Battle Royal show for the kids' dad, Chance Gibson Sr.
Awesome. Good luck to all those shows, and I wish you guys the best on that. And also, RIP to all those that you guys have lost. It seems like you've definitely been around a lot of loss in this business, whether it was for an interaction or just like people you got to know. And my hearts go out to them and their family and you guys.
I appreciate it. I know a couple of months ago we had done a 10 bell for Dennis Condrey, and that was, I wasn't friends with Dennis, and I'd only met Dennis a few times, but that was still sad because, you know, Dennis was part of my childhood growing up. He was part of the Midnight Express. I knew Bobby, and I loved Bobby. I love Bobby dearly. So, you know, when Bobby died, that was crushing. And there are people in this business that I know and that I'm really good friends with. And when their time comes, if I'm still here, you know, it's going to crush me. because that's my life. They've been part of my world my whole life. So it's like,
Yeah, when the business, you guys get close with people, and then when it comes to the realization that they're like gone, it's really, really hard to muster because I've seen the promos on Owen Hart, Yoko, some of the nicest guys in the wrestling business you'll ever hear about, and you see how much it affected all those that cared for them and loved them, and then it's just like, wow, this is not this is a business where you can make friends and family, and then you never know how long y'all have because some of them may not. They've had injuries. Do you guys go through that stuff in the ring? You guys could die from one move. Your career could be ended from one move. I hate to bring it up, but look at what happened to Draws.
oh, it is.
One
Oh, yeah.
move.
And I mean, I was at a convention in Tampa. I guess it's the day Dusty Rhodes died.
Oh,
And they done a 10 bell for Dusty. And it's like, I never met Dusty. I didn't know Dusty, but it still broke my heart. I was standing beside B. Brian Blair and, oh gosh, he works for Vince McMahon forever. And his son wrestles. Can't think of his name. Dark hair.
dark hair. Was he a tag team wrestler or a singles wrestler?
He was a tag team wrestler, but he was backstage. He was one of Vince's dudes.
Chief J Strongbow?
No.
Oh, uh, you say
Gosh, what is his name?
that's the only tag wrestler that I'm thinking of that was like a right hand man for him for like a good bit. But Dean Malenko, maybe
No.
no.
It was him and the guy that came, Pat Patterson and
Gerald Briscoe.
Gerald Briscoe. I was standing next to Gerald Briscoe and B. Brian Blair, and they both were just boo-hooing. And I was like, I can't watch a man cry. I'm going to cry too. Because we had went to meet Roman Reigns. Well, we had went because Roman Reigns was there, and my kids were like wanting to meet Roman, and we met him and Kofi Kingston. And of course, they're meeting all the old timers that they have no idea who they are. My daughter was obsessed with Al Perez. She took I don't know how many pictures with Al Perez. And I saw him last year in Charlotte. And I said, hey, I got something I want to show you. And I showed him a picture of him and Tiana when she was a little girl. And I said, this is what she looks like now. And he went, I'm old. And he and I took a picture together and sent it to her. I was like, hey, T, look who I ran into in Charlotte. And like my daughter, Heath Slater and my daughter are buddies. And when I showed up in Charlotte last year, he's like, hey, where's my girl at? And I was like, she was her boyfriend. That's where she's at. He's like, boyfriend? What boyfriend? But yeah, Heath and I were friends. And I went and I ate lunch with him. As a matter of fact, on that Saturday after the convention shut down, we went and ate lunch. So Thursday night, I got drugged to dinner with Ricky Morton, which was amazing. We went out to eat at this like place, and they had like I want to say a shrimp boil. And that's where we went and ate that. It was great.
Shrimp boil. That is a unique thing I've never really heard of, so I gotta look into this. This almost sounds interesting.
It had potatoes and corn on the cob and peppers and shrimp and crab leg. It's kind of like some kind of Louisiana style something or another. And we went and ate, and I was like, that food is spicy as crap. We're all going to die. And then, like, the Saturday for lunch, Carrie Morton, Scotty, the guy runs beside the ring, Scotty, myself, and Carrie's girlfriend went to lunch. And then Carrie's like, I can't eat a lot. I got to wrestle tonight. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, you're still here, so we're going to hang out and eat lunch.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad I got to hear this from you and from your experiences with people and your experience in the business. I want to thank you again for coming on the pod and giving me this time of day. And my last big question is that I ask everybody here on the pod. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want people to know me as a good human, a good person, a person with a big heart, a caring heart, and a person who would do anything for anybody in this world. And I want to be known as a good mom and a good grandma. Well, a Mimi. I want my kids to know that I love them more than anything in this world. I want my grandkids to know that they mean everything in the world to me. And I just want people to remember me as a good person.
Awesome.
As a wrestling character, I want you to remember me as that bitch who did whatever I had to do to get my tag team to win, or whatever person I was managing had to get over. I want the fans to remember me as that person who did what I had to do.
Okay. Well said, Brittany. And like I said again, thank you for giving me the time of day to even come on here. And to everybody that will be watching this will be up on the YouTube page. I'll post it up on Facebook. And we hope everybody has a great day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever y'all may be. Peace out.